I took my own advice. I stayed offline. If I didn't, I probably would have been much more pissed than I was yesterday. But I stayed offline. I avoided all the Arsenal chatter. I seen a few things. You know, Eze with his 22 years, hold that. I saw that. Saka with his little statement, talking about they called us the bottlers, now we're holding the bottles. Whatever, bro, whatever. Have your moment. You get me? But listen, I'm cooled down. I'm cooled off. You know, I accepted it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, 2 trophies, the Carabao and the FA Cup is not that bad. Yes, I would have loved the league. But these things happen. Can't win them all the time. But listen, word on the street is Pep's leaving and Maresca is his replacement. I don't know how I feel about that yet, but I think he did a decent job, you know, at Leicester. He did a very good job at Leicester. You know, came in first, got them promoted, then went over to Chelsea. Considering the squad they had and the position they finished in the previous season, I believe it was 6th, he did very well. You know, they finished 4th, Champions League. He got them Champions League. And the whole sacking situation, nah, I don't think there's any teeth in him being sacked. Yes, he's not working as a manager at Chelsea anymore, but I believe it was a mutual decision because the club didn't back him. You know, he didn't appreciate that the club didn't fully support his vision because he wanted a lot more. You know what I'm saying? He's an ambitious guy. He wanted a lot more. He wanted to sign certain players. The club didn't back him in that, and he just didn't appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? He wanted more, and apparently Chelsea weren't asked. Like, they wanted to hit certain targets, and as long as they hit those targets, they cool. But that wasn't enough for Maresca. Is what I gather from the situation. So who knows? Maybe joining a club like City, you know, with the resources we got, the facilities, the quality of players we got, and you know, the club backing him fully. Who knows what he could do? You know what I'm saying? I like his style of play. Because I watched Chelsea when he was manager. I like his style of play. Direct, they move the ball quick. And like I said, man, like, who knows what he can do with this caliber of players? You know what I'm saying? Strong midfield. Strong defense now. Even though there's rumors that, you know, Gvardiol could leave in the summer. He's linked to Real Madrid and now also recently Bayern Munich. I don't know if that has any teeth to it, but it is what it is, man. But listen, on Maresca, I think we need to see a little bit more about this guy. So I have this video here that we're gonna react to. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Go ahead, hit the like button, you know, hype the video, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. 100 subs. That's the first goal. Let's get to 100 subs. We're gonna try and get to 100. Okay, let's be realistic here. Today is the 20th of May. Let's do a slow burner. Yeah, we're gonna do a slow burner. Let's get to 100 subs by July. We're aiming for 100 subs by the 1st of July. Let's go. Run up those subscribers. Let's get into it. Without further ado, let's get started.
Every time I watch Chelsea under Maresca, I can't help but feel like he's bluffing. One week you think you figured them out, then the next game comes and their style is completely different.
And a very good manager they brought in.
I can't lie, That's another thing I appreciate about Maresca. He changes his tactics based on who he's playing, and you usually see that in like the second half. He has his set style, way of playing, which is similar to Pep's, which makes sense because he was assistant coach in the treble season, and rumor has it that the idea to move Stones into midfield was Enzo. Rumor has it that was his idea. So that's not surprising because he does the whole inverted fullback thing, like he did with Cucurella. He would invert Cucurella next to Caicedo in the midfield, allowing Enzo to go further forward. So I'm looking forward to see what he has in store for us, bro. It seems like he's nailed on, but Enzo as well is Vincent Kompany is also on that list, but chances are he's not gonna up and leave Bayern Munich just yet. I feel like he still has more to prove to himself, you know what I'm saying? So I think we're gonna offer Enzo a 3-year contract. I think that's what's on the table. And then maybe after that, Kompany comes in after Maresca wins us a couple trophies. I do think the squad is ready to challenge for the league next season, especially once we sign Anderson. Our midfield will be a lot stronger, and we're looking at a right back. Word on the street is Coyote is the guy. I just saw a tweet on City Extra that seems to be a guy that we're strongly looking after. But I need near. I like Coyote. Don't get me wrong. He's good defensively. He has some pace to him. And he doesn't duck out the challenges. I like that. I like that he does. I like a defender that doesn't duck out of challenges. That's why I love Kusanov. He goes. He goes. Coyote's the same. He goes. But I don't know if he's good enough on the ball for especially since we'll be playing out from the back. Maresca likes to play out from the back. I don't know if Coyote is strong enough on the ball to utilize, that style or that approach. You get me? And that's another thing why a lot of City fans, maybe you agree, feel like Trafford is a better option for us next season. Because he's much better on the ball than Donnarumma. And yes, Donnarumma is a better shot stopper, but Trafford is not bad at all at shot stopping. You know what I'm saying? He's a decent shot stopper, but he offers so much more on the ball than Donnarumma. I think most of you can agree. We are much more comfortable playing out from the back with Trafford. And a lot of people will... Let me full screen. A lot of people will mention the mistake against Arsenal. We haven't scored the equalizer. A lot of people will, bring that up. And also on set pieces and crossings. Trafford is much stronger in claiming the ball in those situations. So, even though the shot stopping, which has saved us a lot this season, like the Man United game, that shot from McAllister against Liverpool, he has saved us a lot with the shot stopping. But I can't help but feel like that West Ham goal from the corner, if Trafford was in there, do we concede that goal? Do we concede that goal? The chances against Everton. Do they score 3 goals? Everton were on a mad one. Take nothing away from them. But I feel like Donnarumma in certain situations just shaky, Even the equalizer against Arsenal at the Emirates. Way off his line. Why are you that far out of your box? You remember the Martinelli chip? Eze through ball, Martinelli over Donnarumma, and you know. But that's a completely different conversation. Let's get back to Maresca.
For me, it's not a surprise that they just keep continuing the results that they had the second half of the season.
Almost like you're watching another team. Opposing manager.
Let me talk
the
about
results that they had the second half of the season.
Almost like you're.
Listen, Maresca, if you bring leave Enzo at Chelsea, if you bring any player with you, sign this guy, please. We need a right back. Sign this guy. Bring him in. I don't care if he signed a new contract. Pay me up. Pay the fee. Please bring. Oh my goodness, he's such a talent, bro.
Watching another team.
Pure
Opposing
quality.
managers, Chelsea fans, pundits, none of them can predict what's coming next.
For me, I told Maresca 4 days without sleep.
Listen, hot take. Listen, hot take. This guy, what he did at Flamengo, underrated. Let me talk about him for a second. I don't know how many years they've gone without winning the league, but this guy joined. Oh, forget the league, a trophy. This guy joined and in his first 6 months beat Botafogo in that final, won their first trophy. The very next season, won the league. And talk about style of play. Not far off from the way we play, you know. And this chef's kiss. I always said, since I saw how they play, what he done with at Flamengo, I want Felipe Luis to replace Pep. Temporarily, till you can secure a company or an Enrique or a Nagelsmann, someone of that caliber. Bring me Felipe Luis. Because not only is his tactics on point, style of play, bellissimo, he knows how to get a tune out of players. He knows how to get players up foot. You know what I'm saying? How in your first 6 months, you get a team from like mid-table to winning the trophy against the league leaders. And then the very next season, you win the whole thing. The Brazilian league I'm talking about. This guy's quality. He's quality.
Sleeping really bad because when I watch his team playing, for me it's the most perfect playing, tactical playing in Europe.
But
I won't say perfect, but it's nice to watch. I can't lie. The way Chelsea built up, while he was there, it was, you'd have stank face sometimes. Like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? You'd have that stank face from time to time. They play some good football.
here's the thing, it's not random. Maresca has been implementing his style from the first day that he arrived at Chelsea.
I think he's done amazing. I think he really has done amazing because to come in for his style tactically to be implemented at such a short space of time.
Right.
A style that helped him win 2 titles with the Blues. What's interesting,
And that's important, That's important. That's in his first season. And yes, Conference League, Mickey Mouse Trophy, say what you want. You can only win the trophies in the competitions that you are participating. It's not his fault they finished 6th. You know what I'm saying? It's not his fault. But I'm saying though, he was in the competition and he won it. And yes, people want to say the PSG final, they were resting players. Yes, they did. But there's João Neves, they had Dembele, they had Doué. It's not like they rotated the entire 11 and just played scrubs. Listen, if you take all that stuff away and you watch how Chelsea actually played, they played very well. Overall, they played very well.
is that training footage shows that he's already been making changes to his dominant style.
He has all his solutions covered for the players, and the players understood really well his model of play.
Now you may be
Now listen, I like the fact that he's including opinions of other managers in this video. Because I always say, You can listen to the players about their manager, but where you get the real is the opinions of other managers. You get me? That's where you get the real. So, I like what he did there.
Be surprised. Why would you need to?
And I can't lie, Felipe Luis, that's a good opinion. I mean, if you watch Flamengo, you know what I'm talking about. They play some quality ball over there. Quality. You want to be entertained? Watch Flamengo. I'm telling you, bro.
To make changes to a system that helped you slap the Champions League winners? Well, that's because even through the wins, the titles, and the goals, cracks began to show. Issues that were papered over because the Blues won silverware. Maresca has analyzed those issues, and now he's building something new on top of what made him successful in the first place. When he first came in, he knew immediately what he wanted to do with the team. While the media was busy calling him Chicken Parm Pep,
therefore everybody who once shared coffee with...
Listen, I'm gonna say this right now. Football is funny to me. I'm gonna say this. Don't listen to the chat. Narratives change week by week. People are gonna say what they want regardless. Form your own opinion. For example, forget what people say about Bournemouth. Watch them yourself. Form your own opinion. Take Pep for example. Pep's the reason football is crap today. Why do people say that? Because everyone's copying his style of play. Everyone's playing the same because of Pep. Ask yourself this. How is that his fault? He's not forcing all these managers to use his style of play. He was dominating England with his style of play. Other managers thought, well, the way he's playing works, let me do that. Maybe I can get a tune out of my team. And it's not just one or two managers that had the same idea. There's a hell of a lot of them. That's not Pep's fault. That's the other manager's fault who decided to copy him. You can't blame Pep for that. And then oh, here's the biggest one. Pep ruins players. Forget the narratives. Stop listening to the chat. Observe for yourself and form your own opinion. Now people will bring up Grealish all the time. That's the first name they bring up. Oh, but look what happened to Grealish. He was balling out of Aston Villa. Look what he turned into at City. Listen. What happened with Grealish was not on Pep. That was on Grealish. You hear our forwards all the time. Pep wants me to do this more. Pep wants me to do this instead of that. I always bring this up. That clip where Pep talks about Messi. You know why he's the best player in the world? Because when he gets the ball, he runs at the goal. He sees the goal. He smells the goal. You have to score the goals, guys. Those were his words, slightly verbatim. When Doku says, Pep wants me to shoot more. Savinho said the same thing. Pep wishes I shoot the ball more. Why are you not doing it then? That's on the players. That's on the players. Oh, but the players keep passing the ball back. That must be tactical. No. No. John Stones said it. He wishes I passed the ball. I made more runs into the midfield. He wishes I passed the ball forward more. He said that. Pep actually encourages me to kick long balls. He said that in an interview. But the players don't do it. That's not Pep's fault. That's on the players. Observe yourselves. Form your own opinion. Because people will say anything for whatever reason.
But Pep Guardiola is going to make a Premier League manager. It just does not work like that.
And questioning whether he was right for the...
Wait, go back a little bit.
Therefore, everybody who once shared coffee with Pep Guardiola is going to make a Premier League manager. It just does not work like that.
And questioning whether he was right for the job.
How about we've got a young team who need guidance, so I know what we'll do. Let's get a young, inexperienced manager and hope that he's able to guide them.
Yeah, they're biting their tongue now. You proved them all wrong.
Maresca had a plan.
I said before, we are trying to build something important, not for this season, but for the next 5 years.
He wanted to make his Chelsea squad fluid and adaptable on the fly. And we saw that at the Club World Cup. The Italian tried all kinds of different systems throughout the tournament. For example, look at the different roles that Cole Palmer played. Against LAFC, he played as the 10. Against Flamengo, he played as a right winger in a 4-3-3. And then against Benfica, he played as the left winger in a 4-2-3-1. With Palmer on the left.
Yeah, but Palmer can do that though. He can play all across the front line. We knew that since his City days. In the treble season, he didn't play much. But when he did play, he would play on the right wing, sometimes in the 10, and seldom on the left, but he did a good job. But he'd mostly play in the 10 and on the right wing. Fun fact, he was actually instrumental in our Super Cup win. Because he scored the winning goal, the only goal in the game, after he got subbed on. And he also was responsible for creating the chance that we got the equalizer for, after he got subbed on in the Community Shield against Arsenal. He's the reason we went to penalties. AKA, he's a game changer. Which is why City fans were so upset and confused as to why we sold him when we already sold Mares. He was supposed to be next up. He was supposed to be the replacement. But then we brought in Doku and he realized that's just not going to happen. Send me out on loan. But the club said, nah, either you stay, or if you really want to go, it has to be on a permanent basis. You young, you want to play regular football, obviously, you're going to decide to leave on a permanent basis then. Because he's not going to play any other way. He's not going to play otherwise. Now maybe the board didn't foresee him becoming as good as he is. Maybe that's why they took that strong stance with him. But I'm sure now he regrets his decision as well, but it is what it is, man. What's this, a 5-2-3 formation?
Pedro Neto stayed wide on the right, giving Maresca the chance to use all three of Caicedo, Lavia, and Enzo in the middle, something that he had hinted at trying in the 2025 season.
Oh, nah, it's a 3-2-5. Because there's 3 defenders here with the 2 midfielders. I can't lie, Pep does here. Hold on. Yo, Pep does here. Oh snap, hold on. Sometimes my keys get stuck on my keyboard when I press them. But anyway, look at this here. This here is the front line. And I think this is Kukureya over here. Here in the bottom corner. Look at this. Look at all the channels they can exploit if they can somehow get the ball to one of these two. Now, obviously they are hoping that one of them can pick out a pass. Maybe he drops maybe he drops into this space here, receives the ball from one of the 2 of them, and then all of them making a run, pass it out wide either, or pass it centrally. There's so many options here with the front 5 like this. Bro, I can't wait. I can't wait. And see, all these bodies in front stretches the defense. You see how they're not focused on one person? Or if they are, that leaves even more space for the other four. Now imagine Haaland right here. The two of them on Haaland. That leaves him 2v1 with these two. And it's probably another, yes, there's another defender here that leaves this defender 2v1 with these two. You get me? Now they are set up in a 4-3-3, but maybe against us they'll set up in a 5-3-2, which will allow them to double up on the likes of Doku and Semenyo. But see, if you run this formation here, the front five, at best, you'll have a 2v2 with a 2v1 with Haaland, and everyone else is left one-on-one, unless someone in the midfield drops in to help out, you know, the defender to defend against Doku or Semenyo. But that leaves more space in the middle for who to capitalize on? Foden, Cherky, O'Reilly, what have you. Run me the system.
Season. In his setup, Enzo played further forward in the number 10 role, while Caicedo and Lavia sat just behind him as a double pivot. Meanwhile, Reece James didn't push into the midfield like...
Next season, there's going to be Rodri and Anderson, that double pivot. Mark my words.
He sometimes does. You see what I mean when I say no?
And we know that Anderson this season has some of the highest percentages for progressive passing. So like I said, getting the ball to that front line, those through balls, those balls over the top out wide, we're going to eat next season.
Nobody can figure out what system Maresca is going to use next. Instead, he stayed back and acted more like a third center back. That allowed Chelsea to shift into their usual build-up shape, which is a back three with a box midfield. Against Benfica, Palmer did most of his work in the left half space, which gave Cucurella the chance to push up and join the front line. And this kind of movement is...
Now Cucurella's crossing is decent, so what happens in that action? Palmer passes it down the wing, Cucurella runs onto it, makes a little run, puts a cross into the box, or cuts it back, passes it centrally back to Palmer, to then what? We've seen that multiple times in the Maresca season.
Exactly what makes Maresca's system so flexible. Benfica tried to stop Chelsea's midfield box by defending in a narrow 4-3-3 shape.
This is also when Jackson was in the team playing as a striker. How many times did they put Jackson through? Haaland would eat off of those balls. We saw it against Everton, the 3-3, that ball from Kovacic. Oh my days. Those were the kinds of passes that Jackson was being put through on all the time. We might see treble numbers with Haaland if we play a system like this.
Wanted to block the central passing lanes. So Palmer and Enzo, who were acting like number 10s, had space to receive the ball before Benfica's midfield could actually press them. Sometimes Angel Di Maria even dropped back from the wing to form a back five and stick close to Palmer. But the thing is, Palmer is brilliant at finding little pockets of space, turning quickly, and then playing dangerous passes or taking the shot himself.
Who else is good at that? Cherky.
The first half he tried a few through balls to Delap, but his timing was off. Now you could say maybe the passes were too strong or the run wasn't right. Either way, the ideas were there, the execution was just lacking a bit. But naturally, the chemistry will build between these two guys. In the previous season, Palmer had looked at his...
Nah, forget it. Forget it.
His best when he drifted out wide or dropped deep. That's where he could show off his vision and passing range. And that's what he tried to do against Benfica. Being a left footer on the left side helped him whip in those sharp passes across the box. He just needed someone to make the right run. I'm not a fan of Palmer on the left side.
And who in our team likes to make runs like that? Haaland, blood.
But with him being left-footed and playing on the left wing, there's certain angles that open up that wouldn't otherwise. In extra time, Palmer was unstoppable. Even after a long weather delay, he stayed locked in. Benfica went down to 10 men and the game opened up. And Palmer, well, he ran the show. Chelsea scored 3 goals in 9 minutes, and he played a huge part in that. Palmer on the left.
Did you see that action? Did you see that action? What did I say? Pass it out wide to Cucurella.
He stayed locked in.
What's this?
Benfica went... down to 10 men, and the game opened up. And Palmer
passes it down, puts it through for Kukurea. Kukurea runs
he
onto
ran
it.
the show. Chelsea scored.
Cuts it back centrally into that area. Palmer runs onto it.
3 goals in
takes a
9
shot.
minutes.
I don't think they scored there. They probably took a deflection. But they would do that all the time. All the time.
And he played a huge part in that. Palmer on the
Now we know who likes to make a run down to the touchline and cut and cut it back into the central areas. We know who likes to do that. Jeremy Doku. And with this system, with the front 5, we'll have 3 players in the area to capitalize. I don't know why people are upset about this. Of course, it's not Pep. No one that we get off the Pep is going to do what Pep has done. We have to make peace with that. But it's not going to be a drastic drop-off. There's a drop-off for sure, but it's not going to be drastic. The club did well to bring in someone who plays a very similar system to Pep. So the core of what we are doing is not going to change. Maybe certain style changes here and there, certain personnel, aka players, and their roles will change, but the core of our style of play remains intact. That's the point of signing Maresca. And also, him working under Pep in the treble season played a big part in managing and coaching the players. So bringing in someone the players are already familiar with, it's not going to shake things up like drastically. There's definitely going to be a change, but it's not going to be a drastic change. And that is the point of the signing.
The left might help Chelsea become a more complete team in the attack. In the 2025 season, they focused too much on central areas, which meant they often ran into low blocks and had to rely on crosses. But their crossing wasn't balanced. They ranked 7th for crosses from the right, but just 15th from the left. Now that's partly because Reece James is so good at crossing from the right, and the fact that Kukurea...
That's why we need him, bro. His crosses are elite. And I'm telling you, on the ball, I don't even have to tell you about it. Just watch him against Arsenal when they went down to 10 men. He bossed that midfield. And as a right back.
Kukurea's role had changed from being out wide to being more of a box-crashing left back. Chelsea only scored 8 goals from crosses all season, which was the 4th lowest in the league, and just 2 of them came from the left side in open play. There were a few bright moments. Palmer assisted Enzo with a cross against Spurs in April, and away to Leicester, Kukurea chipped in a great ball that led to another Enzo Fernandez header after Jackson Shaw was saved. But Maresca, he wants to see
Let me go back
that
to
led
that
to another
real quick.
cross against 8 goals from
Just take note of the positions these players are picking
crosses all season, which was the 4th lowest in the league, and just 2 of them came from the left side in open play. There were a
Look here.
few bright moments. Palmer
3 in the box.
assisted Enzo.
You see that? 1 on the left, 1 in the middle, 1 on the right. And just in case a loose ball drops in this area, who do you have here? 2 players right here who can capitalize. Solid.
With a cross against Spurs in April, and away to Leicester, Kukurea chipped in a great ball that led to another Enzo Fernandez header after Jackson Shaw was saved. But Maresca, he wants to see more. From what I've read, in his long Jackson Leicester, a few bright moments. Palmer assisted Enzo with a cross against Spurs in April, and away to Leicester, Kukurea chipped in a great ball that led to another Enzo Fernandez header after Jackson Shaw was saved. But Maresca, he wants to see more. From what I've read, in his long-term vision, Maresca sees Enzo as his number 10. That's why moving Palmer to the left side might be a smart move. It makes space for Enzo to push up and get more involved in goals. Before, Enzo had to sit deep.
Now see that. Okay, here's the questionable side of things now. Because I don't know if Fernandez is that creative of a player. I I mean, you want to replace Palmer's creativity with Enzo Fernandez and move him out to the wing? I'm not gonna lie, that's like moving Reinders into the 10 and putting Cherky out on the right wing. Which in some cases is not bad. But to make Reinders your designated 10 while shifting Cherky out to the right hand side, I don't know how I feel about that. Because Cherky's creativity is on a much higher level than Reinders. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, in comparison to this situation, Palmer's creativity versus Fernandez's, I don't know if that's a move that I agree with.
For next to Caicedo because Lavia was injured for most of the...
I feel like Enzo is that box-to-box who can get into, you know, good areas, create a chance here and there, but more so capitalize on goal-scoring opportunities. Kind of like a Gundogan. Obviously not as good, but similar profile. His game's more midfield, you know, physical, win the ball and progress the ball forward. Kind of like Elliot Anderson will be for us next season. Kind of like how Kovacic is doing that for us right now, and Bernardo Silva.
Year. But when everybody's healthy, Maresca wants him further forward. Now, Palmer was not the only player to be played in different roles. Here are all the different systems and positions that the Blues played at the Club World Cup in the US. Sometimes Cucurella or Gusto pushed up high on the wings, and other times they tucked inside to help in the midfield. Pedro Neto would start on the left in one match, then pop up on the right in the next. And then someone like Nkunku, he might stay wide in one game, but in others, like the one against Fluminense, he dropped deeper to help.
Fluid movement. Don't get used to staying in one position. I need you to move around. Keep the opponents guessing. I like that.
Help with the build-up. It all depends on the game plan, the opponent, and how Maresca wants to create overloads.
Right.
Some of the changes Maresca made were more low-key, but there was a lot of them during Chelsea's semi-final against Fluminense. Pedro Neto started on the left, but moved over to the right in the second half, and looked just as comfortable, something that he had done all season. Nkunku, meanwhile, did the opposite. He began on the right, and then switched onto the left. Even Dewsbury Hall got in on the action. He came on as a right winger, with Palmer playing more centrally. But by the end, partly because Caicedo was off getting treatment,
I can't lie, I'm liking this music in the background. It's like it's an indie feel. I like indie music. It's hypingly calming. That's the best way I can put it. It gets me hyped, but it's also like calms me in a way.
Right, and then switched onto the left. Even Dewsbury Hall got in on the action. He came on as a right winger, with Palmer playing more centrally. But by the end, partly because Caicedo was off
let me focus on what this guy's saying, bro. I'm focusing too much on the beat.
He began on the right, and then switched onto the left. Even Dewsbury Hall got in on the action. He came on as a right winger, with Palmer playing more centrally. But by the end, partly because Caicedo was off getting treatment, Dewsbury Hall had moved inside, and Palmer was out wide. It shows how fluid Maresca wants his team to be, with players 100%. Constantly rotating based.
That's important. Fluidity is important. Keep the opponents guessing.
On the game's
never let them know your next move.
Needs. This is also why Chelsea.
He knows. They know he inverts fullbacks, but will he invert them into the midfield, or will he use them as wingbacks to provide width while the wingers move in centrally?
At the top when it came to using the most amount of players.
Oh my gosh.
Based on the game's needs. This is also why Chelsea
have used their squad extensively this summer. Top 25 squads with most players used. There's the Club World Cup 2025. Right above Man City. Alright. But this is the Club World Cup though, bro. We rotated heavily in some games. You know what, no? That Club World Cup, we didn't have to get kicked out by Al Ali. That was a pure tactical slip up by Pep, bro. It still hurts me to this day. It didn't have to happen, bro.
Were at the top when it came to using the most amount of players. What was interesting about that match against...
Was it Al Ali or Al Ain? It was one of the owls.
Fluminense was how lethal Chelsea were out of possession as well.
Wait, Cancelo was on the team. Is it Al Hilal? This is probably Al Hilal.
Their press not only disrupted Fluminense's attack, but
One
it
of the
also
owls,
gave
like
the
I said.
Blues more time on the ball. Against them, Chelsea pressed in a 4-3-3 shape. Nkunku, João Pedro, and Pedro Neto put pressure on the three center backs, while Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer kept close to Fluminense's double pivot, Bernal and Hercules, what a name, to cut off their options. On paper, Chelsea's
Important. Cut off their passing lanes.
4-3-3 should have matched up very well with Fluminense's 3-4-2-1. Cucurella and Gusto could press the wingbacks, while Tosin or Chalobah could step into the midfield to help Caicedo. But Fluminense's attacking trio, Arias, Nonato, and Cano, moved around a lot and kept targeting the same spaces to overload Chelsea's right side. The key to Chelsea handling this pressure was how well Tosin and Chalobah read the game.
Listen, no offense, Tosin is trash. I can't lie. He's a terrible player.
They were constantly switching markers with Caicedo when needed. In this example, it looks like Caicedo was about to be overrun 2v1, but Tosin was already sliding across to help shut that option down. Rene, the wingback, got the ball under pressure and tried to connect with Arias, and then Cano, but neither pass worked. Caicedo's awareness and Tosin's positioning shut it all down. Caicedo didn't always have a fixed man to mark, so his role was more zonal, but he had to constantly read who to press based on the situation. For example, when Hercules played the ball
I thought I saw something just now.
back to Silva, that was the trigger for Chelsea's press. Enzo jumped on Hercules, and Caicedo stepped in at the right time to cut off the pass. Chelsea's pressure worked so well that Fluminense kept getting pushed backwards and being forced to go long. And when they did, Chelsea's backline was ready. Fabio, who was Fluminense's keeper, tried 8 long balls during the game, and literally only one of them connected, and that was just a short one to his wingback. Chelsea kept the same high press going in the second half until the 54th minute, when Fluminense made some changes and switched to more of a 4-2-3-1/4-3-3 shape. Seeing this, Maresca quickly adapted, and that's when João Pedro scored again to make it.
Now, I don't have a problem with the high press, but Kusanov must start, or he must be on the pitch when we do it. Because he's the only one with the pace quick enough to be able to deal with it. Gay is not going to do it. If Gvardio stays, might be able to in some situations. Diaz, hell no. Hell no. Aït-Nouri, he strides. When he runs, he doesn't like stride. He keeps his feet close together. It's like this. It's not like this. It's like this. It's not bad when you're on the ball. But when you're getting back to defend, I want to see you. But you don't do that. So he's not going to be able to deal with it. Nunes got some pace on him. So I don't have a problem doing that with him there. And if we do get Coyote, by all means. Because he has some pace on him as well.
2-0. Chelsea had changed their shape without the ball, switching to a 4-4-2. Palmer had moved up next to João Pedro to form the front two. Now, instead of marking the deepest midfielder directly, Chelsea left them free and either blocked his passing lanes or zonally marked them. It was a smart move because in that heat, pressing man-to-man takes a lot of energy. This new setup also gave Chelsea a spare center back at all times, which made...
AKA, we can't do that with Haaland. Because he doesn't like to run a lot. Unless you put him through on goal. Then he's stallion.
being safer at the back. Fluminense still managed to break through a few times in the last 30 minutes, but the chances they created...
You know what frustrates me about Haaland? When we are pressing, he'll run up to the player with the ball. And you will see that player's not asked, because he knows that when Haaland runs up to you, he's not gonna engage, because he slows down and stops in front of you, expecting you to make the pass. It's only occasionally when he'll run in and stick his foot out, but even then, nothing will come of it. And then further on, he's just jogging to the next man to press.
Were not dangerous. The extra defender in the middle really helped keep everything under control. Then after this match came Maresca's real masterclass, and it's what he did to the Croissant Warriors in the Club World Cup final.
How important is it that your players are willing to suffer on Sunday, because there will be long times in the game where you do not have the ball?
Who said that?
Okay. Sick edit. That's a sick edit. Not gonna lie. Who said that? Hey.
On Sunday, because there will be long times in the game where you do not have the ball.
Who said that?
I like that. As a gold celebration. Nobody can do.
Now what a trick from Palmer! Super! Finishes almost a carbon copy. Work needed in that regard. Palmer, John Pedro, hits three, and Chelsea are running away with the FIFA Club World Cup final and a statement victory.
Look at that smile.
To re-establish Chelsea.
I'm not gonna say my manager yet. You have to prove yourself, Enzo.
Have made it a blue day in New Jersey.
Let's start with the sexy stuff first. What Chelsea did with the ball. Because, you know, everybody wants to see the goals. The man who made Maresca's system work against the baguette lovers was Joao Pedro. Despite it only being his third game with the team, I mean, think about it, Joao Pedro won a title before he even saw Chelsea's training facility. He understood exactly what the Italian Dutch Lex Luthor wanted from him. Leading the line in Chelsea's 3-2-4-1 setup, Joao Pedro was a real headache for PSG's defense in the first half. His movement was fantastic, and he always seemed to know exactly which spaces to attack. He timed his run so well that he kept getting the edge over PSG center backs. In this example right here, he starts off behind Beraldo as Robert Sanchez chips a pass out wide to Cucurella on the left. And from there, Joao Pedro is already positioning himself to make a dangerous run. Then when Cucurella plays the ball to Enzo, Joao Pedro takes a couple of steps forward to be in a position where he can either link up with the play or attack the gap between Beraldo and Marquinhos. This movement allows him to be ready for the pass when Enzo plays the ball into the space between PSG center backs. Then in this example, Joao Pedro is positioned near the penalty spot while Pedro Neto and Enzo Fernandez link up down the left. And as soon as Neto passes it to Enzo, Joao Pedro takes a few smart steps into the space behind Marquinhos, makes himself available for a pass, and keeps the pressure on PSG's back line. Enzo finds him, and then the Brazilian immediately backheels the ball to Cole Palmer, whose shot just narrowly misses the target. Joao Pedro's smart positioning and his off-the-ball movement were critical to Chelsea's game plan for PSG. It's what allowed them to expose PSG's left-hand side. To exploit the space on the right, Maresca used Palmer and Gusto on the right to try and overload PSG's left back, Nuno Mendes. Meanwhile, Joao Pedro made sure to stay close to Beraldo, PSG's left center back, so that he couldn't shift over and help out. And you can see it right here. Whenever Chelsea attacked down the right, Joao Pedro would position himself on Beraldo's right shoulder away from the ball. This would cause Beraldo to be pulled out, and gave Gusto more space to isolate Mendes 1v1. It worked perfectly in the lead up to Chelsea's first goal. At first, Joao Pedro was on the left side of Beraldo as Cucurella passed the ball back to Sanchez. But as Sanchez launched the ball forward, Joao Pedro shifted to pin Beraldo in place, once again isolating Gusto against Mendes. The Portuguese could not deal with the long ball. I don't know what he was doing here. Gusto picked it up, gave it to Palmer, who finished it off. For the third goal, Joao Pedro's movement created the chance and finished it. He started off by positioning himself in front of Beraldo to stop him from stepping up to Palmer. My God, Beraldo was cooked in this game. That left Nuno Mendes stuck between marking Gusto or Palmer. And when Gusto made his run, Nuno Mendes had to commit. With the Portuguese fullback pulled wide, Joao Pedro drifted into Beraldo's blind side, timed his run perfectly, and when Palmer slipped the ball through, the Brazilian chipped Donnarumma to make it 3-0. Even Chelsea's second goal has Joao Pedro's fingerprints.
Donnarumma! I forgot, bro. He was PSG's keeper in this game. Let's watch him. Let's watch him.
On a quick counter, Palmer was facing Vitinha with Beraldo nearby. Once again, man, this guy, he's in every highlight and not in a positive way. Joao Pedro made a run behind them, which forced both defenders to react. That opened up space for Palmer to drive in and curl the ball into the bottom corner. A copy-paste of the first goal. Considering that Joao Pedro literally didn't have time to train with the squad, his understanding of his role, both with and without the ball, has been incredibly impressive. Now, of course, the goals will steal the headlines. But what Chelsea did out of possession was arguably even more impressive. Not many teams managed to keep a clean sheet against PSG, but Chelsea did just that. And even more impressively, they made it look controlled. The Eiffel Tower lovers had only been shut out 5 times during the 2025 season, but none of those games looked like the one against Chelsea. From the very beginning, Maresca set the tone.
Look at the players on the pitch. Kvaratskhelia, Fabian Ruiz, Ousmane Dembele. Man, I don't want to hear excuses, bro.
His message before the kickoff was very simple. Let them know you're there. And Chelsea did that immediately.
Vitinha on the pitch as well. Nah, I don't want to hear excuses.
With intensity. They were aggressive out of possession, snapping into tackles.
Vitinha, Dembele, Ballon d'Or winner, and didn't score a single goal. I don't want to hear.
And sticking tight.
Even had João Neves in midfield, bro.
To their man. Especially
Marquinhos. I don't want to hear.
Especially in the first half. They were letting PSG know that they're not playing Real Madrid anymore. This wasn't going to be a walk in the park. That energy unsettled PSG's rhythm. I mean, just look at Caicedo putting their entire midfield into his back pocket. PSG love to rotate.
Caicedo's a midfield bully, bro. Sometimes in a bad way, but he's just overly physical. That's why I got so many yellows and reds this season.
Positions and pull teams out of their shape, but Chelsea were ready. They matched that movement with smart defending. For example, when Fabian Ruiz made a run to get the ball early on, Chalobah followed him all the way to shut down the pass before it could even happen. Chelsea didn't go full man-to-man across the pitch.
They played a what formation? A 4-1-2-3. Okay, that's their first mistake. You can't play a solo pivot against Chelsea.
All the way to shut down the pass before it could even happen. Chelsea didn't go full man-to-man across the pitch, but their defenders were willing to follow their markers into strange areas when needed. Like when Ousmane Dembele dropped as deep as a left back, Chalobah went with him, forcing him to have to make a safe pass. And when he did that, the rest of the team adjusted quickly, shifting into a temporary back three. Levi Colwill did the same thing a few times, stepping out of the back line to stop danger before it built up. And when he did, Caicedo would drop into the defensive line to cover the gap, showing you just how well drilled Chelsea were in switching roles on the fly. There was even a moment where it looked like Colwill was the holding midfielder and Caicedo was playing center back. That's how fluid things got. Then out wide, the effort was just as impressive. The wingers like Pedro Neto were doing the dirty work, tracking runs all the way back to help defend. Earlier in the match, Cucurella had tracked Doué high up the pitch, while Neto sprinted all the way back to Chelsea's box to follow Hakimi, even heading the ball clear to Robert Sanchez to grab. At times, Chelsea even formed a back five, with everyone doing their bit to stay compact and block the passing lane. PSG were forced to just pass it around with no real threat for long stretches. It wasn't always the prettiest football. Chelsea had to clear their lines a lot and reset, but it was very smart, and more importantly, it was effective. The communication required and the awareness to have a mid-block like that, to defend that well.
They asked for like over 100 million for him, if I remember correctly. But hey, fair play to PSG. They called their bluff. Got him for 60. Everyone's jaw dropped to the ground that day. João Neves to PSG for 60 million. My heart was broken.
Against a team that had slapped everyone in their path, showed that Maresca's Chelsea were really at a top level. This game was very different from the semi-final against Fluminense, where Chelsea were able to press in their 4-3-3. PSG were too fluid for that. So instead, Maresca let his players embrace the chaos, staying aggressive in 1v1 battles instead of relying on triggers to press as a unit. And it worked. Maresca showed that he can come up with a game plan to beat anyone. The Club World Cup wasn't just a trophy, it was proof that Chelsea can now adjust tactics based on the opponent and still dominate. Will they use this exact approach in every big game in the 2026 season? Probably not. But the defensive discipline and flexibility they showed against PSG can definitely carry over. It's funny, Maresca used the Club World Cup as a place to experiment his different systems, and through his experimentation...
So this video was created after the Club World Cup then, before the Premier League season started.
Became a world champion. Now Trump thinks Chelsea is the greatest team of all time. While Maresca's system can change game to game depending on the opposition,
who cares what Trump thinks about football? He needs to be worrying about running America.
his core principles do not change. One of Maresca's key ideas is all about using width to open things up. He tells his wingers to stay as wide as possible. This stretches the other team and creates big gaps in the middle of the pitch. You could really see this during Chelsea's goals against Wolves early in the 2025 season. With so much space in the middle,
So easy they make it look. So easy.
Guys, like Chelsea's goals against Wolves early in the big gaps in the middle of the pitch. You could really see this during Chelsea's goals against Wolves early in the 2025 season.
That's how you counter-attack. Listen, I'm so ready for Maresca ball. It's not even funny.
So much space in the middle, guys like Palmer and Jackson can drift in and take advantage. The wingers don't come inside. They just stay wide and wait. That way, if the ball gets switched to the other side, they're already in a great spot to go 1v1 against the defender. And when you've got tricky players like Pedro Neto
and Doku one-on-one. Shit. Condolences to the family of whoever's marking him.
Giddens, Joao Pedro, Palmer, you're gonna win the majority of those battles. It pulls the defenders all over the place and opens up space that would normally be shut down if Chelsea were playing more narrow. Another thing Maresca focuses on is having more players than the opponent in key areas. He often uses the inverted fullbacks to help pack the midfield, which helps Chelsea overload the middle and control the game from there.
Bring the fullback inside when we have the ball, because the idea is to have
the man himself is speaking.
The inverted fullbacks to help pack the midfield, which helps Chelsea overload the middle and control the game from there.
Bring the fullback inside when we have the ball, because the idea is to have an overload in the middle, extra player in the middle.
A lot of the times you'll see Cucurella, Gusto, or Reece James when he's healthy.
We did that in the treble season. Makes sense, makes sense. Hey, the John Stones thing makes even more sense now.
A lot of the times you'll see Cucurella, Gusto, or Reece James when he's healthy tuck into midfield and act as an additional midfielder. This gives someone like Enzo more freedom to push higher up the pitch. It also shifts Chelsea's shape into more of a 3-2-5, forming a box in midfield. Now this setup works really well against teams that defend with 3 midfielders, because Chelsea always have that one extra man, making it way easier to keep the ball and control the game. But there's a risk, because when the opposition presses man to man, it can lead to mistakes.
We try to play here and they are a little bit more aggressive. We need to come back with the keeper.
To deal with that pressure, Maresca wants the goalie to get more involved during the build-up play, acting almost like an
Trafford's our number 1 next season. That's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. Trafford's our number 1 next season. There's no ifs, buts, and maybes about it.
Extra outfield player to help beat the press.
In this case, if this player drop here, the keeper is dropping in the is going the opposite side.
It's actually very normal to see Sanchez stepping up higher than usual, either to receive a pass or launch a quick counterattack. When the other team goes man-to-man with their press, Chelsea's back 3.
Maresca's doing an Enrique next season. Donnarumma gotta go.
Spread out wide. That creates a pocket of space for the keeper to step into and basically become the 4th defender. That little move gives Chelsea an extra man at the back, turning everything into an 11 versus 10 situation.
But if you slip up, that's an open goal.
It's a simple way to get the numbers advantage back and keep control during the build-up. The other way that you maintain control is by picking up your own Chelsea jersey. Just go to buygamejerseys.com and use code PETTALKS at checkout. The inverted fullback role also helps Chelsea defend in transitions. When they lose the ball, having the fullbacks tucked into the midfield means there's usually 5 players ready to react and win it back. Since those players are positioned closer together, it's easier to press quickly and force mistakes, something that we have already seen multiple times from Chelsea. And when they do win the ball back, they're in a great position to launch a quick counter. What Enzo Maresca...
That's what we need. We need quick counters in this team. We have players who are capable. They want to run. We have that. We need that.
Has done so far at Chelsea is honestly amazing. He's had to deal with a lot of off-the-pitch drama, yet he's still getting results with one of the youngest squads in Europe. Yes, the club spent a lot of money, but spending big doesn't guarantee success. Just look at Manchester United or Barca under Bartomeu.
Or most recently, Liverpool. We know how much they spent in the summer. Look where they're finishing. That's facts.
What makes Maresca different is how well he's integrated the new players while also developing the ones already at the club. Thanks to him, no one's talking about the price tags of Caicedo or Enzo anymore. To see how these two went from being...
I think that talk picked back up after more recent performances, but hey, he did quiet them down for a second.
Labeled flops to the future of Chelsea, you have to watch this video right here. Every time
I just saw a video there. Arsenal are back on the throne. Took them 22 years to get it back. Is it even their throne at this point? Nah, that's our throne. We're the one that has won it 6 times in the last... 9 years. Hey man. We go again next season. We go again next season. It is what it is, man. But listen, that's the end of the video. I hope this gives you, you know, some more comfort and security in Maresca now, because I think he'll do well for us. I don't think we do a Centurions or a freaking European treble. Excuse me. Under him, but we'll still be picking up trophies. 100%. I think Maresca can do next season what we did this season. I mean, considering this is a poor season for us, with this squad, I think Maresca could, you know, actually not improve us, but I mean, yeah, I think Maresca could improve us. I'm gonna lie to you, cause you know what I'm saying, like, especially with the counter-attacking situation, we have players that's more suited to. You know, like Semenyo. I mean, Pep and Enzo is similar. They're similar, but you know what I'm saying, like, Pep's more of a break defenses down, work your way through the pockets, and not that Enzo doesn't do that, but Maresca's more inclined to, you know, let the players just run. Full on counter, move the ball quick, get it forward. And players like Doku and Semenyo and Turkey, and especially Haaland, will eat off it. With the players we have in our front line, even more Moosh, if he stays next season, we'll be there. We'll be there. I promise you we'll be there. But listen, don't forget to like and subscribe. I was just thinking about, you know, this actually being Pep's final season, and it all just flashed in my head, everything we'd done, and coming to like, I'm just processing everything, but we're not gonna get into that right now. Like the video, turn on post notifications when you subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more videos coming your way. Peace out.